that.
Yeah, so let's move on to that right now. Vault space. So you have 2 armor sets that you can get in Trials of Osiris, at least a weapon set, at least one weapon set. You have all the queen weapons that you can get. You have all the new armors in the vendors, all the new weapons. You have an entire Prison of Elders armor set and weapon set. I have no space in my... I cannot get every, like, raid weapon, every exotic, and every queen, all the new items.
You
it will not fit.
You couldn't fit the last update in one vault. So you already have the problem, and now
they added a few slots with the vault update. Yeah. It's not enough. We need like a whole other
But to
page.
jump right to it, it's not just an inconvenience. You are now basically, you need to delete stuff, right?
Yeah.
Don't you? Like, pretty much. In fact, no, you do, depending on what your character classes are. But I'm like out of space, and I'm like, well, I kind of want that weapon. I'm leaving stuff in the Postmaster, and so it is.
I'm using the Postmaster as an overflow because I just can't hold anything.
Yeah, and so the way I would frame that up is, I know that I always have some kind of complaint. I do love Destiny, for the record. Like, I have a ton of fun with it, but it's a love and hate relationship when you spend that much time with the game.
Well, you critique something in hopes that it gets better.
That's right. Yeah, because
you want it to be better.
But it's because you're passionate about it. And just for that clarification. But the vault thing has been a problem for me since way back, right? The lack of filtering, organization. There's no shelving. There's just like this UI design that just somehow they put hundreds of weapons and pieces into this thing, and I'm like, I don't get it. And so now the problem is, I have spent 500 hours plus with Destiny. Yeah. And I spend so much time now trying to figure out where to put my stuff. Yeah. So I'm actually really happy that I get these rewards. Like, even I have 2 different pulse rifles. Yeah. I am now being actually punished with my time in the game. I'm just all over the place, man. And
sometimes, if your inventory is full, you will just not get stuff now.
Oh yeah, like if you're Postmaster, it'll push stuff out.
Not just Postmaster, but also just if you have your emblems full and you get 9-0 in trials, you do not get that exact
Why
emblem.
doesn't it go to the Postmaster?
You just don't get it.
Yeah. So I'm going to put on my game designer hat here and say
memory issues.
One of the problems.
Invisible.
One of the problems I have is that I'm always at the Glimmer cap.
Yeah.
Allow me to spend Glimmer to buy extra slots in my inventory.
That would be cool.
Interesting. However, I don't think that's the problem, though, is that, it's an interesting idea, but meaning the base of it is...
Fixes 2 problems by connecting them.
I know, but meaning you're extending the, if you have more space to just get period. But then by the way, you might get into trouble. I'll just be devil's advocate as okay, wait, this is not fun to buy space in a game. It's not a bad idea.
You don't have to buy it. Like, you don't...
No, I need it. We all need it is the point.
I agree. But, I look at... I look at Destiny and I realize that this is an amazing shooter, and then I look at it as an MMO and I'm like, it kind of fails on the MMO and the RPG standpoint, where I've played a lot of great MMO RPGs. Like, I played World of Warcraft for 7 years, way too long. Yeah. And one of the great things that game did was you had multiple characters that had independent inventories that you could share via the mailbox system. Yeah. So each character had a different inventory, but you could still move items from one character.
You could use in-game currency to unlock more space.
Sure.
You could also do that. Yeah. You go to the bank. It's it's the
and
same
you
thing
get
as the
9
inventory.
pages usually in some games.
Oh yeah, and you can buy up to. You could buy an amount of space that no one would ever pretend to be even to
It could definitely be done, right? And especially if it wasn't super expensive. Well, I just meant the real issue is we need a design for a vault that works.
5,000 for 10 slots.
For Destiny, we know this. We know that the last generation consoles are holding it back. And I think the reason we don't have
more... The way that it's designed, yes. And what I mean by that is, it is not hard for a last-gen console to render 200 slots. It's whatever's going on with the overlays and quickly pulling, right, the 3D renders in for inspection. I don't know what the limitation is, but I'm willing to give up a ton of that just for your Chrome browser can obviously just show a ton of stuff from your hard drive. Yeah. It's not that hard for an Xbox 360 to do the same.
I would love to hear Bungie just say, yeah, we're working on it. Yeah. We're working on more vault space. They said they gave the update and then nothing. And it's just hey, that wasn't enough.
I agree.
That's not
is
even
there a
enough
significant chunk of people playing Destiny on last-gen consoles? How big is that chunk?
Well, we don't know. They've never released statistics, but there are a significant.
I don't think I've ever known anyone. To
but even then, I'm writing it off, which is I understand that they did design the game a certain way with certain features. It quickly pulls when you inspect or whatever, overlays. I don't know where the limitation is in memory or otherwise, but whatever. Get rid of it, because all I need is a system of whatever, shelves was one idea, like auto rifles, pulse rifles,
Oh, yeah.
whatever, and make it fairly like
UI
big.
design you're talking about.
Yeah, but meaning the last gen console's absolutely capable of it,
Yes.
right? We've all logged into a store even in these games and went and bought stuff from a store. I mean, it is a basic principle that can be done. I just want to make sure that nobody out there's like, no, they said it's the last gen consoles. That's not the problem.
Don't
It's that
render the gun. Just let me look
I
at
know,
the stats if you
meaning
have to.
whatever
you know?
it is. And by the way, it's
Yeah.
not easy to undo that design. I think that's where the challenge is. They're probably working on Destiny 2. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are obviously,
And
they're
whatever
working
DLC
really
the
big on
Taken
Destiny
King.
1.5. And
Yeah.
so the point is, a ton of resources go to that. We're kind of stuck with the way it is. But now, version 3, 3 of the game with House of Wolves, it's a huge problem. Like I'm literally thinking like I'm gonna start taking my stopwatch and timing how long I'm spending, because I am just curious, like on a weekly
Inventory
basis.
management, right?
It's big. It's a
Yeah.
big amount of time. And
You know
then
how I manage it? I usually disenchant everything. What is it
or
called in the
dismantle.
dismantle, yeah.
Yeah.
You have
In
played
World
a
of
lot
Warcraft, it's called disenchant.
Close
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
It's the
just
same
something.
premise.
Dismantle.
Well,
Yeah,
you just call
They're,
it.
they're
you just
big
call it
World of
DE.
Warcraft fans.
Well,
so
you just,
they
yeah,
get it.
in WoW you say DE and it's disenchant. Same
But you
thing.
basically it's
basically,
dismantle. You're right.
Same thing.
Yeah, but this is the problem. You're asking me to delete something that I earned after 500 hours.
Yeah.
How do you think that makes people feel? So I think you're right, Destin. Just say we realize it is an issue. The community has spoken. Like they did that with like Atheon bugs, and
Yeah.
like they need to say like we realize you guys are spending a ton of time in there. We're going to be transparent.
Yeah.
But then the question is, are they working on it? And I think that's what makes us all nervous.
They
you know?
released the stats about the vault and like how many people actually use it, and it's like, well, hey, all those people are eventually going to fill up their vault too.
Yeah, but I remember going back to those stats. Like it wasn't totally accurate to like the players that have a ton of stuff that are using it frequently.
Yeah.
Because they even said a small percentage of people that bought the game are actively playing.
Yeah.
The raids actually was.
There's
what
like
they talked
what
about.
20 million players.
I don't know what the top number is, but it was that they had said that about the raids.
20
too.
million
like,
people
hardly,
created a character.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course the percentage is going to be low.
Exactly.
Because
And
those people created a character and then stopped playing.
Yeah. In other words, I think they mix stats.
Of
but
the player base, how many of those people have full vaults?
Exactly.
I'm going to bet a lot.
of active players who
Yeah.
play a certain number of hours every week,
Yeah.
probably more than an hour. I bet
Yeah.
you everybody has a full vault.
I didn't play that much this week, and I played multiple hours this week.
And
Yeah.
even then, though, and we don't need to keep dragging this out. I think everybody gets it, but
I'm filling time.
it is about the time you spend to manage it. Even like, fine, if your stat was it's not 100% full. Okay, mine isn't always 100% full, but that's not the problem. There might have been one space in there, but I had a huge deal getting stuff in and out. And it's the weapon slotting too. I always bring that up. It's not just the vault; it's how many weapon slots I have,
Yeah.
and like that whole I'm literally pressing up against these two walls that are closing in on me, and it sucks because
It's gotten
it's
to the
taking away
point.
my time.
It's gotten to the point where I run prison and I get a weapon drop and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
oh man,
I have to go put this in a vault that has no
what am I
space.
gonna have to delete?
No, and it is
You
it is
know?
a scary thing to say. I'd like to try this out. I totally, I'm happy I got a reward, and you're like, crap. Where do I begin? With
Oh
the
no, I
management?
got 3 good rewards.
Yeah, so
I don't know what to do.
They have to address it.
That's a
It
weird
is-
problem to have.
Yeah, and I
You
think,
know?
but I think you said
Yeah.
this, Bungie. It needs to be addressed.
It does.
Tell us if you're going to fix it or not, and we're going to pull the whole like if you're going to be silent about it, we're assuming you're not fixing it. And I think
Yeah.
there's a ton of people who are worried, and you've got Destin over here, right, thinking. He was telling me, he's like, I don't know how many hours I can keep sinking into this because you've been having some challenges. I think
Yeah,
you're a little just frustrated in the last week, but
Yeah, I don't know. Just this last week, like I did not have a lot of fun with Prison of Elders. I don't know how the rest of you feel. Love Trials, absolutely love it. I don't want to just be totally negative on this show all the time, but that's
I like Prison.
Yeah.
But it
I actually
is.
like it too.
I like Prison to a point, but I've run it now. The
haven't done
rewards,
35 though.
the rewards are so reduced. I have 4 Etheric Light on me, so I'm good on Etheric Light from running Trials, which I loved. But I just like, why do I want to go through the most frustrating experience of my life for an Etheric Light, an Armor Core, and a Weapon Core?
Right. You mean like Skolas and level 35.
Skolas isn't really fun.
Yeah, he's
You
super
know,
tough.
It's
I mean, I
just
think
like, all right, guys, we gotta like really be super serious and not have fun and get this done.
I don't know about that.
Like, it's hard to just like
Engage try hard mode.
when you failed 4 times and like your options are quit and start your 2-hour run
Oh, it's-
over again,
It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
You know.
I play with
or power through it with a team that's frustrated and
Yeah.
angry at each other.
Oh well, that's kind of the thing.
You
Is
know.
I play with Alfredo and his crew
Yeah,
a lot, and we all know Alfredo.
Yep.
He
Those
gets
guys are
frustrated,
Those
too.
guys are good, and I remember Like, there was one night where we were online and I was PvPing and they were in there doing Skolas's Revenge. And I remember just every hour or so coming back and checking and still seeing 3 out of 3 on Skolas's Revenge. Like, maybe like 4 or 5 hours in a row. And I was like, they're still in there. Like, these guys are good players, too. Like,
because once you leave, your progression's gone. You start over. And I did not want to do that server around again. That's not fun.
Yeah, and even worse, right? People were gaming last week, the heavy ammo, just raining Gallahorns on Skulls is the solution.
That's how I did it.
And that's probably still the solution. I don't think it's Arcburn this week.
No, it's Arcburn this week. People are using Patience and Time and Thunderlord.
There you go. But the point is, you're like gaming the system with your ammo.
Because they don't want to do the actual mechanics, because by that point, you've been in there like an hour. You're just like, just get me out of here. Give me my one etheric light.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad.
Legit. That's another weapon I need.
Yeah, it's good. Because of the Arcburn.
But anyway,
any high-level Arcburn weapon is good.
Yeah.
Sniper. Because you stagger him, stagger him back.
Praetus Timepieces.
Praetus Rens Void,
Or Praetus Revenge. Yeah.
Exactly. That's like my fully upgraded sniper.
And I ran the Nightfall. You know what I got from the Nightfall? Absolutely nothing.
I got a duplicate House of Wolves weapon that I can't.
I still have never really gotten anything worthwhile from the Nightfall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where I normally get.
I get a lot of
stuff.
coins. That's what I get.
Hey, I ran it with somebody who got the what is it? Give Take is a fusion. It was a really nice drop. It's actually, like I always talk about, feeding.
I think I have that one. Yeah.
Which is, but he got a good roll on it. Which you could always go to the gunsmith and hopefully get it. But you do get good stuff from the Nightfall. Anyway, we're getting off topic. But
I have all the exotics now, except for the House of Wolves exotics, and I'm just kind of like, man, I'm gonna have to put in 2 hours to maybe get one of those new exotics that I don't even know are good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, for me, that as much as I'm always a weapons chaser and like a gear chaser. By the way, I think the
Trials,
gear
30 minutes. Either I got the 9 wins or I didn't. I can take a break.
Yeah. Which
I
is
can
nice.
stop. I can stop in Trials for a while and then come back to it.
No, you're right. Like the risk versus reward, even though it's punishing, is better there. Again, I think they assumed it was going to be way harder. Then again, it is. By the way, I hopped in and I got like destroyed. We just didn't have a good team.
Let me stop at a particular round in prison and come back to it later, because
checkpoints.
It is mentally taxing.
Yeah, it is. I agree that, I know in the raids it's a different experience because you get 6 people together. Prison is a little different. You've had thoughts on that, and we're going to talk about matchmaking.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Like, the checkpoint conversation has come up numerous times now. Like, I don't see the downside of letting me keep a checkpoint. And by the way, I only get to keep it till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, what's the big deal?
You keep it in the raid.
And I was about to say, you do keep it in the raids, actually. I take that back. But anyway, I think that needs to be addressed. And what I was going to say is, we should talk about it on another show. I really think we're at a point with weaponry that the inability to go into the gun range or whatever you want it to be to test these things.
That's one of the
huge
big things
issue.
that I've always said is like one of the
Yeah.
great things about World of Warcraft that you could do is, again, comparing it to MMOs.
Yeah.
In every major town, they had like practice dummies.
Yeah.
That you could just go shoot at or do your abilities on and waste your cooldowns and just test stuff out. Go switch it out at your bank and then test out different builds and just optimize. Like, theory crafting is such a huge part of any MMO, and it's very light in Destiny. There's nothing much to do in those social areas except turn in your bounties.
Yeah, and they could definitely fix that. But my point is, it's a decision to delete for some people, and it's like, I just want to test this out before I throw it away. And the real issue is the perks. You can't even test those to figure out your role if you like it. So I think another.
Well, I was trying to weigh Ill Will versus Last Word, these 2 hand cannons, because I wanted to use like an exotic in another slot, and I'm like, I wish I could just shoot this gun right here and see if it fires fast.
And with the perk,
I have to go join a match to test it out.
I'm gonna force us to move on here because I really want to talk about this next topic, and it is